Hi, I'm Alex. I am a software developer and a cybersecurity professional with over 35 years of experience. And I tell you that not to brag, but because I was almost scammed just yesterday. And I wanted to talk about that today. And just to make a point that even if you are an experienced professional, these things are becoming harder and harder to detect, and pretty much anybody could be scammed at this point. I got lucky that I happened to be doing this on my phone and caught a very specific error that gave me pause. But let me back up and give you the fuller picture. So I was buying protein shakes, and I like this company called Owen, which stands for Only What You Need. And in particular, I like their coffee drinks, which are like these guys here. And they're expensive. Their 12 pack is about $42, which is the same price on Amazon. And if I could pick it up locally, it's also pretty much the same price, if not higher. And it is this price on their website as well. Now, I don't remember their domain name, right? Like I just assumed that it's Owen.com rather than liveowen.com. Uh, so I went to Google and I typed in Owen, and Google returned a couple of results. One of them was for this website, which is liveowensale.com. Now, if you're doing this on a mobile device, you don't necessarily see the full URL. You're only going to see that you're on this Live Owen website. And this website looks pretty good. It's running a sale, 70% off, and it has all the same products, at least all of the products that I normally would associate with Owen. So I'm sitting there watching TV and scrolling through this, and I'm like, wow, 70% off sale. I am going to stock up, right? I am going to buy like $200 worth of protein shakes and keep them in my closet, and I'll be set. Like, this is a ridiculously good sale. Maybe it's the shock of going to the supermarket or whatever it is, but the idea that there's this sale, this deal to be had was a big motivator for me. And so I did load up my cart full of this stuff. But before I checked out, and I will show you that you can come in here, you can add something like this 24 pack to your cart, and it is a legitimate shopping cart. This is Shopify or maybe shop.com. I'm not really sure, but you can even go through the checkout process and you will legitimately, pay for these items and, think that you've placed an order. The problem with this is that this is a fake site. So from a payment processor perspective, I think your credit card number isn't actually exposed to the scammer. However, what is exposed is, of course, your address, maybe a few digits of your credit card. And in addition to that, obviously, you will probably never get the product. And there are a few telltale signs if you do spend the time and look this over in a bit more detail. But overall, this is a really good site, maybe built with AI, that prevents you from seeing some of these things. So the moral of that story is that you really should be careful in terms of making sure that you really are on the proper vendor's website. So know what that is ahead of time. Don't necessarily rely on the first search result that you get. This was actually a sponsored result, so it came up ahead of the actual live website. And so I ended up clicking on this instead of the real site, thinking that I was going to go here and buy some protein shakes. Now there are some signs that you can pick up quickly. So first of all, if you do see the domain name, one of the things that you can immediately tell is like, that's suspicious. And that was one of the things that caught my eye because it's so difficult for brands to attract customers to a real URL, to a real presence on the web. They're not going to create one specifically for a sale. The second thing is that this sale is 70% off on a relatively expensive product with free global shipping. I mean, that's insane. Who does free shipping globally on things that, happen to be liquid? Like, a liquid is heavy. To ship that globally with the tariffs for free, this just, like that does not, that math doesn't work. And so this gave me pause as well. So to me, the deal was too good to be true. Honestly, if they made it 30% and they charged me something for the shipping, I probably would have been much less suspicious and probably would have ordered because it was still better than what I was getting on Amazon. But 70% off gave me a bit of a pause because it did seem like too much. And then because I was on my mobile device, there is a section of this website where they left the template code in there that shows up only if you look at it on mobile. And so when I saw that, I said, well, this is kind of crusty. This doesn't work. And so that really sort of solidified it for me. And of course, I didn't make the sale. I instead did a little bit more research, and I realized that, oh yeah, Live Owen Sale is not the real website, that it's liveowen.com instead, and that this is really a scam. So, I mean, I used these vegan protein shakes as an example because that's what I was looking for at the time. But I'm pretty sure that this happens in, other products as well. So if you see a deal that's too good to be true, just make sure that you really are on the vendor's website. Compare your prices to other things that you see and use AI, use Claude, use Gemini, use what you know, even Google, to test whether or not this is real. So if something seems legitimate but is just kind of too good to be true, run it through a search on Google and ask Google, hey, I'm looking at this website. Is this legit? And it'll tell you if it's a scam or not. I did that search yesterday, and it definitely told me that. That was one of the final things that I tried before I finally gave up. I also had Claude compare the real site to the fake one, and Claude identified exactly the same things that I mentioned before. So anyway, I wanted to present that. I am doing a 30-day speak to the camera challenge, and every day I need to take 5 to 10 minutes and talk about something on one of my 4 YouTube channels that have absolutely no content on them. So this is, the first of 30 videos that I am recording. And this is going to be pretty much unedited and going live as is. Hope this helps somebody, and have a great day.